going on YouTube? So I just wanted to talk to you guys about today my BORLA ATAK exhaust. I was actually trying to do a video of me recording like the startup, idle, as well as the rev, but apparently every time I rev the car, the phone actually cuts off. And I've done this multiple times, maybe 3 or 4 times I've tried to do the video with me recording the exhaust revs. My phone immediately shuts off. I don't know, maybe it's too loud, maybe. But there's never such thing as a bad thing, right? Maybe when I upgrade to a better camera, maybe we could actually get a sound of how the exhaust sounds. But nonetheless, so I want to talk to you guys about my exhaust today, right? So, of course, you guys know I have the SRT 392. And that being said, I bought the BORLA ATAK exhaust because when I was buying the exhaust, there was like a few names that popped up, but the 2 main ones that stuck out was, of course, BORLA for the BORLA ATAK, which is their loudest, and then we have the Corsa Extreme. Corsa Extreme being the other probably loudest exhaust you could buy for the SRT 392s and Hellcats. So based off of other videos I had seen online and I actually heard in person, the BORLA ATAK to me had a much more throatier, louder, voice. The only thing I'd like to bring up is that with the BORLA ATAK exhaust, you have the option to get a BORLA ATAK exhaust with the MDS valve or without. So I want to give you guys my little experience with the MDS valve. So the MDS valve, it allows your car, so whenever you're driving, in a local neighborhood, you're driving between 20 to 30 miles per hour, the MDS valve, it kind of closes, I just saw my brother-in-law. The MDS valve pretty much allows your car to pretty much tone down. It's for street drivability, so you're not making too much noise, which a lot of people like. It's like a little bit incognito, a better way to put it. You want to hear the cars loud, not as much attention. Could be a good thing to some people, a bad thing to others. Some people believe that how the MDS valves during, especially in New York City, the MDS valves, possibly because of the snow, it could eventually get frozen or stuck. I hadn't had that issue before with my MDS valve, and I've had my BORLA ATAK exhaust for 2 years, and that has never happened. So my experience with the MDS valve, however, was that how the position it was located on, it actually started, the MDS valve itself, it started rubbing against my rear boot. So I had taken my car to, of course, the guys, EMP, as I said, best guys for Hemi. My guys at EMP to go give me a new rear differential. That's when I got my Hellcat 3.7 differential put on. And we had noticed there was like a whole bunch of grease leaked all over the exhaust. And I'm like, oh, what is all that from? What the hell could that be from? And when we had finally noticed, it was the MDS valve. Every time I went over a bump, the MDS valve was rubbing against my back rear boot on the rear axle. So every time I had driven the car, I always noticed like a little squeaky noise. I mean, part of me thought it was just because of brake dust with the 6-piston Brembos or whatever, but even after changing out my brakes, I still had this weird noise every time I stopped or started the car. During any bumps or accelerate, I always heard the noise. So nonetheless, we realized all this little grease is coming out straight from my rear axle because of the positioning of the MDS valve. And I believe when we first had put on the exhaust, the MDS valve was not placed in a position where it would rub against the boot. I guess just over time it was rotating. No matter, I believe, how tight you could put something, how much it could be tightened, I guess, in a better sense to put it, it's still gonna rotate, it's still gonna move. So what I was gonna bring up to you guys is, if you guys do plan on buying the BORLA ATAK exhaust, I would highly recommend going with the non-MDS one, just to avoid that type of issue. Because if it had been the case that how this MDS valve had actually ripped open the boot on the rear axle, I would have been out another like $1,300. Luckily for me, it was, you know, just rubbing. I had a little grease loss, but when I had them actually check the rear boot, there was no rips. You know, lucky me. But that's just for your reference. Now for the next thing I'd like to talk about with the BORLA ATAK exhaust. Guys, so I'm still driving to the gym right now. I don't know if you guys could hear the exhaust, but you know, as I said, the exhaust, the BORLA ATAK exhaust sounds phenomenal. I love the way it sounds. I had my pals at TNA Motorsport remove my MDS valves on the car. So pretty much what this actually allowed the car to do is, it's kind of like the car was completely open all the time. So, you know, my drivability inspections are like, you know, you hear that? It's all the time. The car's loud all the time, but you know, I love it. I love the attention. Everywhere I go, I get like, you know, looks. People are breaking their necks. But, you know, that's what comes with the car. So if you guys definitely are like checking out the exhaust, the BORLA ATAK is definitely the way to go. Next, for like the next thing I'd like to bring up was for headers. The headers, I bought the stainless work headers. Stainless work headers, I'd like to say that how I love the way it sounds, but it is very, very, very hard to put headers on the Gen 3 Hemis. It's just the position where it's located. It's a really complete hassle. So compared to other headers, the American racing headers, those are straight bolt-on, you know what I mean? It's a much more easier application than how the stainless work headers are, you know, are put together. So for sound, we'll say, for instance, right? Based off of every single video I've seen, the Cook's headers are probably the best headers for the sound. That being said, Cook's headers are extremely expensive. I wasn't really willing to drop $2,000 on headers alone, you know what I mean? If eventually you guys would like to see like a video of how, you know, it is and everything like that, I'd love to put the Cook's headers on my car. It's just at this time, I'm not willing to spend that amount, but maybe for future reference, for a future video, I will. For price, the stainless work headers, it was a steal. So I'll let you guys know that it was like, I ended up spending like I think $1,100 on the stainless work headers. American racing headers, they sound just as good as the stainless work headers. From what I've heard from other people is the American racing headers, it's a lot more easier application to just bolt on. Because as I said, when I had my headers thrown on, it was a little bit of an issue. My poor mechanic, you know, ripped up his hands. It's a very like inconvenient way to bolt that shit on. Guys, so let me know what you'd like to see for future videos. Any stuff you guys would like to ask me about on my car. I said, like, for my bottom end, I have the BORLA ATAK exhaust, deleted MDS valves, and I have my stainless work headers. Let me know what you guys would like to see for future videos. As I said, like, you know, as I progress and pulling on further and further videos, if you guys would like to see me change out the exhaust, or say for instance change out my headers, you know, we could do that. As I'd say, like, if for future, I think I wouldn't mind changing my headers to Cook's headers. As I said, those are probably the most high-end headers you could get for your car, and I would love to throw them on my car to see the difference in performance, and you know, see where we could get. We're waiting for a little bit more cooler weather, and I'm gonna throw my car in the dyno. You know, I'm assuming I'll be making close to 5 to the rear wheel, just because of the camshaft I had installed by, of course, guys, Eric and Mike from EMP. I have the NSR MMX camshaft for the naturally aspirated engine, so we'll see. But the header and camshaft combination, we should be making 5 to the rear wheel. I don't know if my, you know, 3.7 differential would actually change the amount of torque I'm making, but, you know, as I said, we'll see until next time. All right, guys, so please like and subscribe. Later.